Hey guys, Dr. Chris here to Crew Health. One of the most common questions that we receive as pediatric chiropractors is why do we adjust newborns? Why would you take your baby to go see a chiropractor? Today I want to share with you guys a little bit of recent research that's super powerful and important to understand, especially if you're pregnant or a young parent out there. Now, there was recent research that was done where they actually assessed 100 newborns, okay, and they looked at them between 6 and 72 hours after they were born, okay? And in this assessment, these were healthy births, quote unquote. Some were vaginal, a small portion were C-section, but according to, overall consensus, these were all healthy births that the children were doing well overall, okay? Now, out of these 100 newborns, they actually found that 91 of them already had cervical or neck dysfunction, okay? And then they actually found that 94 of them had lumbar or sacral dysfunction, okay? Now, lumbar and sacral, for those of you that don't know, that is in the lower portion of the spine, and the cervical is in the neck area, okay? Now, the real logical question is, why would healthy newborns have neck and lower spinal dysfunction where things are not moving, not aligned properly, creating dysfunction in that spine and in that nervous system at such a young age? Now, there's multiple reasons this happens. One of probably the single most common is the stress of labor and delivery. If you are a mom out there, you know how stressful and unfortunately sometimes how traumatic labor and delivery can be on you. And the other person involved in that equation is your baby. And a lot of times there's a lot of pulling on the head, on the shoulders. Sometimes there's things like vacuum extraction or forceps use or just pulling and twisting that's happening. Obviously, if there's a cesarean section, usually cutting in and pulling open through, pulling the head out first. Additionally, during growth and development, depending upon the uterus, whether there's uterine fibroids, whether there is imbalance in the hips and pelvis, more stress and strain on different ligaments within the pelvic cavity, it can cause more stress and dysfunction and lead to challenges in that newborn. And if these are left alone, what might that look like? How might that impact their life? Well, it might go with no symptoms for quite a while, but it also could lead to things like torticollis or latching issues, or they can't turn as easy. Or maybe you notice your baby, when they're laying down, or they're in their car seat, they're always turned or favoring one side. Maybe it's looking like ear infections as a child gets a little bit older, or different other stresses, maybe colic, maybe sleep disturbances, maybe consistent spit up, or constipation, especially if it's involving that lower sacral area. There's a lot of different things that if these different spinal dysfunctions, because of the connection to the nervous system and the brain and how it distorts or affects proper growth and development, that can impact your life and your baby's life. We always say around here that a baby should be doing 3 things: eating, sleeping, and pooping. And if it's not doing any one of those well or easily, it's going to affect their life and they are going to let you know about it, right? They can't speak to you. So there's all kinds of different soft signs through their behavior that is going to give us key indicators for that. Now, one last thing I like to say about this topic too is that, how do you know if this is going on? It's really, really critical that you get checked and assessed by a pediatric chiropractor. Not all chiropractors have training to work with newborns and work with children in general. So it's really critical you find a properly trained pediatric chiropractor. If you're obviously local here in San Diego, that is our focus, our expertise here at Crew Health. If you're not in San Diego, reach out to us. We'd love to help you find an incredible pediatric chiropractor near you. But on top of that, we can use computerized diagnostic testing to assess that, as well as many other tools that we use to assess that for newborns, okay? And finally, one of the kind of often follow-up questions to this is, even if I were to take my baby to see a pediatric chiropractor, and if any of this was happening, what does it actually look like to adjust a newborn? right? A lot of times when we think about chiropractic care or adjustments, we really think about this popping and cracking and kind of aggressiveness happening. First and foremost, we don't do that in general here at Accrue Health, period. But secondarily, when it comes to adjusting a child, especially children under the age of 1, all it takes is light, gentle, sustained pressure. So I like to give the example of if you're in the grocery store and you're picking up an avocado or a tomato to check for ripeness, that's the amount of pressure that we would use to check a newborn baby. It's very, very light, sustained contact. And so hope that gives you a little bit more clarity and insight. If you have questions or follow up to this, comment or ask those below. But we would love to be of further assistance for you and for your family, because if these issues are impacting your little one, it can lead to a lot of challenges down the road. And it's so much better to help a child be growing and thriving from day one. So every one of you out there, if you have a newborn, if you're pregnant right now and expecting here in the near future, having a pediatric chiropractor check your newborn as a part of their newborn checkups that you're doing is a really, really critical part of having a healthy, thriving newborn in our life today. I'm Dr. Chris. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks.